Hello everyone and welcome to a new video in our IFS Cloud video series. In today's video we will look more in depth into lobby development. Basically we would want to start building our own lobby data source and a few lobby elements. I had a previous video where I did an overview about IFS lobbies with a special focus on industry lobbies more specifically. So I invite you to watch that video because that gives you all the foundational elements of building a lobby page. But before going into the system, just a small recap in terms of what are the foundational steps of any lobby page. Basically, we will see how to create a data source, which is basically just querying the view in the database, and this will be our data source. Then on top of our data source, we will be able to create various elements which get their data from the data source, and then we will see how to add those elements once we've created them to a lobby page. So these are the foundational elements that you must be aware of, and this is what we will be doing in this video. So without further ado, let me jump into the system. Okay, so basically we will talk about changing the operational procurement lobby. Now, we've seen in the previous video, hopefully, we talked quite extensively about this operational procurement. Basically what we are trying to do, we are trying to create some new lobby elements based on a field in the purchase requisition. If I open the purchase requisition screen, here we are talking about, we have a field that's called the order code, which we can set up as express order or normal order. Just these two types I'm using normally. And it might be important for our business process to capture the amount of orders that we have in the system as express orders or normal orders. And we would want to capture this information in our operational procurement lobby page. So let's go ahead and carry out this development work. So we go to the small wrench icon. Basically, this will open the possibility to edit. As you know, this is a standard lobby page, so I don't encourage you to modify the standard lobby pages because they will be overridden with new release updates, service updates. So what I would encourage you to do is to duplicate this lobby page. So we press the duplicate. We wish to duplicate this lobby. Yes. And it will create a new lobby page as copy of operational procurement. Of course, we don't want to leave it with this title, so we would want to change the title. Let me maybe change the size on the page. Okay, so we want to change the title. We do that simply from the page properties, and we will just say YT for YouTube, operational procurement. We will change the author. Okay, and here we can add different parameters, but we will add parameters directly from the lobby data source. I will show you how to do that. We could set it to auto refresh after 60 seconds, let's say. And then we will save it. And now you see we have our YT operational procurement, YouTube operational procurement. Then the next thing that we want to do is to find, let's say, an element that looks like something that we want to create. Because we are able to duplicate the element, we're able to duplicate the data source, so we don't really start from scratch. We know we want to look at these requisition lines. There we should have the order code column. So if I go to edit this, I can take the requisition line status element, so I can jump into the detailed definition of the element. And if you remember, in the element we link the data source. So I will navigate to the data source because I want to be able to create a new data source. Yeah. So I will go to the data source, and here basically I would want to duplicate this data source. And again, instead of copy of, I will just say YouTube underscore so we could easily find it. I will leave the view untouched, so we are getting data from this view, but then I will refactor a bit the where condition so that I can easily read it. I don't like to have everything in one line. I want to have condition by condition, so one condition per line so we can easily read it. Okay, and buyer code. Okay. Then, yeah, we can delete the order by. In this case, we don't need it. To order by anything, we will not do any grouping. Basically, we want to have one data source that we create that could be used in multiple in multiple lobby elements, like a list, like a pie chart, bar chart, and maybe even a counter. Yeah? So we can delete the actual columns, and we have the view columns button, and this will give us a list of all the columns that are available in this view purchase requisition line all. So what we can get out of here, we could basically get the requisition number, we could get the status. Let's see, we have state here, and let's see if we have order code. Order code, yes, we also have the order code. Let's say these three will be enough. Yeah, and now we have our columns here, data type text. Of course, if we have data types or numbers, yeah, we can change them accordingly. In our case, everything is a date type, and we can even preview. No? And we can preview the data, and we see also we can define some parameters. Yeah, so it inherited the parameters from the lobby page. And at this moment, we just filter by the company and the site, and all of these conditions should be met. No? That's good. We have some data. We have our order code. That's fine. Maybe let's just try to add also the line number in the requisition, because obviously we are querying the requisition lines. So one requisition number, the header, could have multiple lines. So we could do simple union, simple concatenation, expression from SQL. Yeah, just the two pipes separated by a dash, and then I put the line number. And maybe I change the name of the column to just requisition, and then I try to preview again, and you see it added the line number, and it changed the name to requisition. No? Of course, one thing that we want to be able to do is to filter by our order code directly from the lobby page. Yeah? And as you might have guessed already, in order to do that, what we would need to do, we would need to have this order code set up also in the where condition. Yeah, so let me just maybe copy an existing condition for the requisitioner code, because we want to handle both cases where a user types in an order code or leaves it null. Yeah, so I will put here order code, that's my column name. As we can see from here, this is my column name. So if I surround this by $signs, it's considered as a lobby page parameter, and it will also automatically create this as a lobby page parameter. We will see that later on. And requisitioner code, I need to change to order code. So order code in the view should be the order code from the lobby page parameter in case it's populated by the user. Yeah? If it's populated by the user, filter by it. If it's not populated by the user, just let it null. Okay? And here we could already save. Yeah, so we copied an existing data source, we just added one more condition based on the data that we want to get out and the filtering that we want to happen from the lobby page parameter. Yeah? Now, if we look at parameters, we see immediately that now we have the order code as a page parameter that we can use in our data source, or and also the same order code will be visible in our lobby page. Yeah? Okay, good. Now we have our data source. We can even do some more tests on it. If you want to see the order code 5, which is express orders, I will run it like that, and then we have only 3 records. If I want to see order code 1, which is the normal order, yeah, I will see a 1. Obviously here we could still apply maybe a decode function so that we don't show the order code, but we do like a translation if it's normal or express orders. Of course, we could just get the description of the order code with an API call, or we could simply do a decode function. Let's say decode, then if the order code is 1, show normal, or if the order code is 5, show express, else just show not mapped. And closing the parentheses, we could preview, and now we see normal. If we go to parameters and just search for everything, we could preview and see express, normal. No? This is a more user-friendly way, but of course in this way you will really need to maintain this mapping. So if you want to check other order codes, then you will need to extend this decode function. Okay, then we could save the data source and we have our own data source. Then we can do one step back and we go back to the element designer, yeah, for the requisition lines. And this is the standard element. And in this case, what we want to do is basically we want to duplicate this element, and this way we will create a bar chart. Yeah? If we want to create another type of element, yeah, we will need to create it from the plus sign. But for now, let's just duplicate an existing element so we can reuse some of this definition. So we will duplicate and say YT underscore operational procurement requisition line order code bar chart. Yeah? And we can change the title Rex by order code. Yeah, we can leave the width and the height the same. What's important is we need to change the data source. Yeah, so we can put our own created data source. So if I start typing YT, we already see our data source popping up here, and then we need to define the axis, the x-axis and the y-axis. In the x-axis we can put the order code, y-axis we can put the requisition, and then we can say aggregate by count. Yeah? So we did not aggregate the data in our data source, so we have just all the 5 lines, for example, shown. But of course here, if you want to show it on a bar chart, yeah, we need to show a count of requisitions by order code. So we will do count, and we can preview, and you can see how it looks. So we have 3 requisitions with code express, 2 with code normal. We could save at this point, and if we try to edit again, we could change the orientation if we want to vertical. Let's just do that and do a preview again, and now we can see the orientation change to vertical. And here you can play around a bit with it, to how you feel, you think should look like. And then if we go into navigation, we can see we already have the navigation available to us. Yeah, we can choose to leave it like that. For this time, we will leave it like that because we know we want to navigate to the purchase requisition lines with using the data source as a condition. No? So if I preview and go to the parameters and filter by, let's say, order code 5, in preview, now I will have just these 3 requisitions of type express. If I click on it, I am taken to the screen where if I look at the order code, I should be able to see that the order code is 5 and should be somewhere. Yes, order code is the very last column. We can see it's 5. Let me just move it to the top so we can quickly see it always. Okay. Yeah, so we can see that it's applying a search in the from our element rex by order code, and we see order code 5 here, and that's what we want to see. So I have a typo here. Let me fix that quickly. Order code. Okay, and then save it. Good, and now we have our first element, which is a nice thing to have. Let's maybe try to create another element of type pie chart, for example. And to do that, we will create new. Let's choose pie chart. Again, give it a name. Rex by order code. And we can also give it a title. Rex by order code. Let me put it here that it's a pie, so we can have this information. Okay, then we go to the data source. Again, very important always when you create your lobby element, you need to link it with a data source, and depending on the lobby element type, the setup in the data section would be different. Yeah, you see now we no longer have the x-axis, y-axis, we have the group on, value from, and aggregate. Yeah, so this is because we are having a pie chart, so we don't have any x and y axis. We group on order code, we get the value from requisition, doesn't really matter, and we aggregate. This is important, we need to aggregate by the count, and then we could save. Let's have a look at the parameters. Let's just leave this field empty. And now if we preview, we can see the pie chart. 2 are normal, 3 is express, and we also see others with a 0 here. If we don't want to see others, we could change this here that we don't show others. Yeah, and in this formatting here, we are just showing the top 5 categories. In our case, yeah, we just have 2, so it's enough, because obviously when you have a lot of different order codes, then it will really split this pie in a lot of slices, and maybe sometimes it becomes unreadable. That's why this use top n options is quite nice, just to say I just want to see the top 5 order codes that are being used. Yeah, very nice information. Then if we go to navigation, here we will see we don't have anything in the navigation because we did not copy this element from an existing one, so we will need to start typing by ourselves. But obviously if you go to the URL starting from the page, you can just copy paste. I will do just that. So starting from the page section in the URL, this time let's go to the purchase requisition, to the form, so not to the list of the purchase requisition lines that we used in the other lobby element, and let's just use data source condition to true. That's okay, and we could save it. Okay, now if you preview, you can still see 2 and 3, the others is gone. And if we just change the parameter to, let's say 1, so we only want to see the ones that are normal requisitions, and if I click on it, it takes me, as you see, to this to this purchase requisition form, to the detailed form, but it's showing everything that has all the purchase or requisitions with order code 1. Also the ones that are closed. So here, if I don't want to see the closed ones, I would need to put I would need to enhance the condition a bit to exclude the ones that are closed. And how would I do that? Basically, I would just search for the closed ones just to see what filter is applied in the URL, in my URL. And then I could just copy that filter and come back, and I would be able to put it in my navigation. Let me just edit the navigation. I would add a filter by object state. I just need to remove this %20. And in this case, it will filter everything that is in status closed. I would probably need to find out how to write the not equal. Because basically if we try to save this as it is, if we preview, we see these two, but if we go to it, okay, we have an error in our definition. Whoops, let's reload the page and then we can take a look at what went wrong. We go back to the navigation. Let me just edit again. Yes, here we are missing, I think, a semicolon. Sorry about that. I did not copy it properly. And instead of equal, I would put not equal, NE. I hope that's the right way of doing it. So we just say filter by object state that should be not equal to status closed. And once again, this I just copy pasted from the purchase requisition screen where I search for give me everything that's closed, and then I just change to not equal closed. Then I will just save it, preview, and then if we click on it, oops, again we get an error message. Reload page, I'll do one last try and then I will move on. Normally it takes a bit of trial and error if you don't do it every day, but it's not something that cannot be fixed. Okay, let's just have a look here. Okay, let's just try with a question mark and say object state not equal. And let's just try it like that. If it doesn't work, I will give up for now. Preview. Yay, and it works. Now we just got the two requisitions with order code normal. That's what we wanted. But as you saw, it took a bit of trial and error live, but I think it's useful for you to see how easy it is to fix things when you don't get it right from the first time, for the first try. Yeah. So now we have our element, which is filtering based on the order codes, and obviously is filtering out everything that's closed. We don't have to look at that. Perfect. Then let's try to create one more element, maybe a list. This is also quite often used. And let's just say YT rec order code list recs by order code as a title, and then we need to select our data source YT, and it's here at the bottom. And now you see in our data section we no longer have what we were used to with bar chart or pie charts. Now we have to select which columns we want to display in the list. So we want to say, yes, we want the requisition, the status, and the order code. And we can hit OK. Yeah, now if you have a lot of columns, you might also want to change the different width. Yeah, so if the requisition number fits in less space, yeah, we could say we allocate less space for this and maybe more space for the status and more space for the order code. Normally you should not go above 100, yeah, with the width. We also want to show the column headers, and yeah, let's not do any navigation for the list. We just save it, preview. Let's change the parameters. Preview. Preview doesn't show anything. Why is that? Parameters, it's fine. The order code. If we want to show order code 5 for Express, let me just do a hard refresh. Normally we should start seeing something in the list. So let's see after the page refreshes. Yes, okay. Now we are able to see the requisition, the status, and the order code. And we can see for requisition number, we have less space. For the status, we have more space because we said allocate 30. And also for the order code, we have more space. Yeah, maybe let's just put 18 for the requisition so that there is enough space. Yes, now it's enough space so that it doesn't collide with the state. Okay, so we created our third element, and now let's try to say if we want to create a counter, for example. Yeah, if we want to create a counter, just to say how many express requisitions we have. Express rec counter. Express requisitions. And the data source. Yeah, and now I'm telling you, we will already face an issue because our data source is not implicitly filtering for express requisitions. Yeah, so here we could say we want to show doesn't really matter what we show, we can show the requisition, but then the aggregate should be a count. Yeah, and if we do a prefix and remove the order code 5, you see it's getting all the 5 records, but we know for express requisitions we only have 3 records. Yeah? But obviously our data source only implemented a parameter. Yeah, if we pass it as a parameter, value 5, then it will respond with the express requisitions that we have. So I would say we save this for now, but we would need a different data source because we want to filter in the data source that it only shows the express requisitions. So we could create a counter for express requisitions just to highlight to the buyers that they must expedite these express requisitions. Yeah, so they should be treated maybe with more priority. So we go to the data source, and the one that we created, we can copy it, and let's call it requisition line express. Yeah, and here we can say the order code equals, and our order code equals 5. And then we have our own data source just for express requisitions. So we saved it like that, and now when we try to preview it, it automatically fetches only the express requisitions. Even if we put here a 1, not here, yeah, now we don't even have the option for this data source to put the order code, because yeah, we removed the order code as a page parameter, as you know. Yeah, it's no longer the order code surrounded by $sign is gone, so therefore we don't have it as parameter, but we have it as a valid data source. So we can go back to our element designer where we had the count, yeah, and here we will need to put the new data source. So this is something you need to pay attention to when you conceive, when you design, when you are thinking what you want to do. We choose this one, the line express. You need to think about how that data should be fetched from the database based on which elements you want to create out of it. Yeah? So we have the counter element. We have selected the new data source that only shows the express requisitions. We want to show column requisition and do a count. And now if you preview, we will always see 3. Now we can also change the color style here. We could say, yeah, this needs some more attention. And we can also add an element text. Please process faster. We could preview, and we have here, please process faster. We can add a 1000 separator, rounding the results if this would not be a whole number. Yeah, if there is 0, if there is no value, it will display as a 0. Yeah, we can also do a navigation. In this case, we could do the navigation to show only the express requisitions. But we will leave it with no navigation for now, just for brevity. You've seen already in 2 other elements that I did the navigation setup. Good. So now let's recap. We have 4 elements. So if we search for these elements, we have the requisitions by order code as a bar chart. We have as a counter one. We have it as a list here, and we also have it as a pie chart. So now we just need to put it all together in our YT operational procurement. And if I go to recently visited pages, I have here my lobby page that I created. And now let's go and add the elements to the page. So I open the edit lobby page, and now to the left I could start searching for YT. This is not that visible. Let me just change this a bit. Okay, now you should be able to see it. So I start searching for YT, and I should have a bar chart, requisitions by order code. If I click on it, it should throw it all the way to the bottom in a new section. Let's maybe move the whole section to the top, or maybe below this. No? Then we could add the counter, express requisitions. Let's just pick this one and move it up to our section. This new section we can delete. Yeah, every time you put a new element, it will put it in its own section, but obviously we can move it to a different one. So let's see the list, requisitions by order code. Again, we will drag it up. And then we have our pie chart, which again, we will drag it upwards. And now let me just clean it up. So delete the empty sections. We can also put a separator. And the separator is this slider with the title that I can also fill with a value. Yeah, so now this is our section. I can say section created for YouTube video, and I can rearrange this if I want to. Let's just say, so I have my counter. This one is my counter, 1 by 1, and then we have the bar chart and the pie chart, and at the end we have the list. And the list we could even put in the dynamic width, and this would just fill up all the space on the screen for that specific line. We could save it. And now you can see how this looks. This is the section that we created for the YouTube video. We have the counter here, and we have the requisitions by order code and requisitions by order code as a pie chart, and then we have our list. Maybe this doesn't look that nice. We could come here quickly and maybe reformat it a bit. So maybe we want the counter to be in its own group. So I will add a group and I will put it here, or maybe to the top, and I will move the counter and the list, which is the list. The list is the third element, so this one should be the list. Yeah, and the list we can put in the dynamic width element section so that it continues until the end of the screen. And also the requisition by order code, we could do the same, and we could save. And now hopefully it looks a bit nicer. No? Indeed, so we have our solution created for YouTube, section created for YouTube video. We have our counter. You can see the counter doesn't have a navigation behind. Also the list doesn't support navigation. But if we go to the top and we just filter for our order code, you see we already have our order code. We did not create it as a separate parameter here to the page, but it was added by default because we have a data source that is referencing the order code as the page parameter. So we could say, show me all the order codes 5. And then we can see that this list is filtered. All our elements are filtered, and if we try to navigate, it should also navigate correctly to show the 3 records which are order code 5. That's good. But one thing to keep in mind, when we filter by order code 5, none of the other standard requisition line status will change. So here we still have all the 5 records, so 4 in status planned, 1 in status released. If we want also these ones to change, we need to change the data source behind it to also accommodate this new page parameter that we inserted. So the page parameter that we created is only implemented in the 4 lobby elements that we have created, but is not implemented in the other ones, in the standard lobby page, in the standard lobby elements. So if we want to implement it, of course, we would need to duplicate the data sources, probably duplicate the elements so that we create brand new elements, including the reference to the order code. So this is how you can create some lobby data source. We have created 2 today. You can create some lobby elements of different types. So today we just played around with the counter, the list, bar chart, and pie chart. But you've seen there's plenty more to choose from. Some are easier to use than others, but of course there is a full documentation provided by IFS. So it's quite nice to figure how things work also by reading the documentation. So hoping that you enjoyed this video, you got some more knowledge now to help you customize, add new lobby elements, lobby data sources to your implementation, to your IFS Cloud projects. Wishing you a great rest of the day and stay tuned for more content on IFS Cloud. Bye for now.